pronounce it right. That is Bente Krogman, the CEO, mTek. She will be able to welcome her powerful team and, of course, invite the rest of the team that is working with on this paper on technology. A big round of applause for her, even as she comes over. Very much welcome, and all the best.
Good morning. And that was a A1 pronunciation about my name, so thank you. I am hearing all kinds of visions of my name. It's Bente, Bente. But you can call me anything today. My name is Bente, though. I wish you all a wonderful good morning. I'm very happy to see, on behalf of the organizers, that the turnout is so great, even with a little bit of a delay. And I hope you had a good evening yesterday, obviously sponsored by the amazing partners, Old Mutual. So, technology, right, Jerry? Which conference are you going to where there's not being a chat about technology? The cool, and this mic is working again. The cool thing, we are the cool kids on the block, right? So the next hour, the next around 60 minutes is gonna be about technology. It's about the cool stuff. I'm always saying when I'm at a dinner party and I'm being asked what you do for a living, and now I'm in insurtech, right? I'm saying insurance, but I'm in tech, right? Because then immediately the spirit changes. So the technology paper is today with the title, Creating Value Through Integrated Digital Transformation in a Disruptive Environment. Director, when I read that title, and I was sitting on the sofa at home, right, with my husband, I said, I'm supposed to moderate a panel with this title. He was actually counting the words, and he said in that moment, he said to me, within these 10 words of the title, there's actually 4 buzzwords. And in tech, we like talking about buzzwords, and there's the word digital, transformation, disruptive, integrated. So what are we going to do within the next 60 minutes? And unfortunately, we don't have our remote person, because obviously we are a technology paper. We're also dialing people in. Not there yet, but we're going to unpack these buzzwords. We're going to understand them a little bit more. We're going to realize and analyze opportunities, but also limitations about technology. Who has listened to me before knows that I'm a big supporter of technology being an enabler rather than a replacement of industry players and functionality. And then last but not least, I hope everybody is going to go home with some food for thought and also some steps which you can, take into reality. So thankfully for you, I'm not going to speak about that alone. I have an amazing panel, and one is being dialed in, I believe, from Nairobi. Good morning, Dr. Julius. We are having you with us here this morning, the Group CEO of Jubilee Insurance, and you might allow me to introduce a little bit. You are truly forefront frontier company when it comes to digital transformation. And according to a recent publishing of Business Daily, Jubilee Holdings will spend, I believe, 2.25 billion Kenya shilling on digital transformation, including investing, and please pay some attention, some buzzwords now again, robotics, artificial intelligence, and data analytics, as it eyes, customized, covers, and improved service delivery. So a very, very warm welcome, Dr. Julius, and a big applause for Dr. Julius Kipngetich. Secondly, I promised you a very, very diverse panel today. We're having an insurtech. Can I call you an insurtech, Peter? I believe so. So we're having mTiba with us this morning. Peter, good morning. And inspired by mobile technology, mTiba created a platform which digitally connects members, healthcare providers, and payers. In a country where millions fall into poverty each year due to unexpected healthcare expense and only 2% is insured, their aim is to make healthcare accessible and affordable for more Kenyans. The achievements are unmatched. We are having nearly 5 million registered members and 5,000 healthcare providers connected. And I'm very happy, Peter. I know you guys have pivoted a little bit in the last couple of months, that you're getting us up to track and tell us what's new at mTiba. Good morning, Peter. Please join me on stage. And big applause. Now, we spoke about the banking yesterday. You know, Jerry is sitting there. When she's hearing banking as an underwriter, you know she's shaking. I brought a bank with me, Absa Kenya. And Absa is really known to facing the ever-changing customer needs over the past few years. Absa regards digital enablement as one of the company's key strategies. As a forward-looking, digital-led financial services group, Absa is showcasing how it seamlessly integrates technology and innovation into the life of its customers. Hartnell, I'm super happy. People always hear me talking about data. So I have my friend in the data environment here with me today. Good morning, Hartnell, and I'm super excited you're going to share your experience with us on stage. Good. Julius, Dr. Julius, I think we lost you, but I hope you're going to come back, because I was planning to actually kick off with you. So,
okay.
I mean, the investment of Jubilee into digital transformation is impressive and unmatched, I believe. Us as an InsurTech, we love working with Jubilee, and like I said, you're truly at the forefront. What I think would be interesting also in terms of setting the scene a little bit for this discussion about digital transformation is to understand your main driver behind this decision. I mean, it is a lot of money you're spending. So why are you doing this, and what do you really foresee to be the impact internally and externally?
Okay, thank you very much, Bente, and thank you for the warm compliment on what we are doing at Jubilee. What I can say at the outset is that the pace of digitalization in the insurance industry in Kenya is late. Actually, compared to our cousins, the banks, my estimation is we are probably 20 years behind. And it's unfortunate because we remain traditional, very traditional in the insurance industry, probably a little sleepy. Our cousins, the banks, were very innovative. I mean, if you look at the ones at the front line, the equities, the KCBs, the Absas, they are way, way, way ahead in the use of technology. And if you look at the financial inclusion that they have been able to do, it's incredible. I mean, I sat on the board of Equity Bank for 12 years, and I know what their capabilities are. To that extent, therefore, if you look at banking penetration in the Republic of Kenya, it is almost 80%. But now do the opposite. What is the penetration of insurance industry? It is much, much, much lower. And the difference between those two is just the adoption of technology. So for us, we are playing literally catch up in the way we want to use technology to enable financial inclusion in the insurance industry. It's a very tough environment because one of the cultural things I've seen in the insurance industry is we are very poor in collaboration. If there is anything that you can credit the banking system in Kenya, is their capacity to collaborate, and even you can say collude. They are very protective of each other. And so one of the things I would propose in the insurance industry as we develop technology platforms is how can we collaborate together, okay, and protect the industry. And when we increase the insurance pie, everybody benefits. Now, what unites the banking system is the clearinghouse. The check system is what unites them. And so they have been able to develop so many platforms, from the telcos developing M-Pesa to then PesaPal, their own platform. So there are very many platforms that they have developed, and they have brought in very many players on their platform. So for us as the insurance industry, we must play catch up and move quickly. It requires a lot of investment, and that is why we as Jubilee have dedicated $20 million in the next 5 years, and so that then we can move quickly and occupy that space and expand. And we would be welcoming other partners so that then we collaborate together so that when we increase the insurance pie, everybody is a beneficiary. So I just want to highlight some of the things we are doing, just as an example, so that it gives you an idea to others. I would like everybody to adopt them. These are publicly available ideas, so we are not reinventing the wheel as Jubilee. We are executing what is in public domain. The first one is automation using robots, okay? And any routine task now in Jubilee is being seen as a potential for use by a robot. So we have a team on rapid process automation, RPA. And so we have hired RPA experts to identify as many of these as possible. As we speak now, we are working on 77 routine tasks that we are working on. Okay. So under the RPA, we are working on 77 tasks. Now, the next stage is to use predictive analytics. That is what we are going to be looking at next, and using AI. The routine process automation is fairly easy. Most of you are familiar with it, okay? But the ones that we will be working on are the intelligent ones. The second one is cloud migration. For a long time, we have been having our own servers, and by end of last year, we had migrated everything to cloud. Now, this has improved reliability significantly. We now have 99.9% availability. So with high availability, we are able to improve customer service. We have removed any investment in IT servers completely, because you just pay as you consume. So I would urge everybody, don't buy any servers, go to cloud. Cloud services are available, the big boys, the AWS, the Microsoft, the Oracles. They have invested significantly. Please don't invest in any servers. Then the other one is we are working on is AI. We have now executed one major one, and probably Jerry, our CEO for the health insurance, is in the audience, and she can explain more to anybody who wants. But we are now, we have implemented partially, because it's a learning AI, on processing of claims, adjudication of claims, okay? And the savings are beginning to show, and when it has fully learned, we expect that claims adjudication will have an accuracy of 99%. Now, once you have an accuracy of 99%, you should be able to automatically reject claims and remove any, because our biggest workforce in our health insurance company are claim adjudication workforce. Now, that will be completely eliminated, and that process is already ongoing, not only in Kenya, but also in Uganda and Tanzania. And it's a learning AI, and for me, I was very excited when that has been rolled, and we expect our claims process to be accurate, and then also to push back to our hospital providers if they want to probably do something illegal or unacceptable. So that is already underway. The other one we are working on is on a CRM. Now, CRM, most of you are familiar, the work of Salesforce, and but we want to have a one view of the customer, irrespective of where they are in the world. Because we are now in cloud, once you put all systems related to the customer on cloud, we just have one view, okay? Our aim is to have one view of the customer. That's already underway, and within probably by mid next year, it doesn't matter. When you just click, the customer will have a unique identifier, and when you click, if you want motor, the person checking on motor will view other insurance policies that you have and then do cross-selling. Okay, if you, for example, you have motor and you talk about travel, you want to travel and you don't have travel insurance, the system will prompt you to take travel insurance. If you don't have medical insurance, if you answer yes, it means you have it in another company, then the system automatically gives you a discount and says, okay, why don't I give you an offer? You cross off. So we want to have one integrated view of the customer, and by providing that. The other one is we want them to manage our data well through with the CRM. We will manage data and a lot of data mining about the customers, and that is where now you use AI to do back-end analytics. So with that back-end analytics, then the customer will have a clear understanding. Remember, competitiveness in the insurance industry will come from very small spaces. Okay, let me explain what I mean by small spaces. You see, we know the usual insurance things, but just a little knowledge different from your competitor about the customer will give you incredible competitive advantage. So we want to understand those little things about customers that many people have not analyzed or are not able to decipher. Then that is where our source of competitiveness is. So we are going to use a lot of business intelligence tools to then do that. So that gives you an idea of what we are doing, Bente, with our 2 billion shillings. And,
that's a lot of money and a lot of projects. How big is your team how big is your team in digital transformation? Just in one sentence, maybe? Like how many people are running the show? Although understanding you're fully embedded in the process as well?
Okay. Yeah, it's fully embedded, but the back-end staff are around 30 to 50.
Okay. I've been to your office. It's like a whole floor, I realized. The digital, I call it the digital factory, isn't it? So yes, it's very impressive.
We are about to move offices from here, and in our new building, we will have a digital factory.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a mini one here now, but in the new building, we'll have a fully fledged digital factory.
So I come back for a visit when you move.
Please do.
Peter, maybe we are turning to you. And I know there's also some projects you are doing together with Jubilee. I mean, we all know mTiba as one of the really leapfrogging the healthcare ecosystem. Who does not know mTiba in this room? Okay, different. Who knows mTiba in this room? Peter. Big brand value, isn't it? So we know you for leapfrogging the ecosystem. A lot has changed. Still, you're known for transformational technology. And maybe you can elaborate a little bit more about what Dr. Julius just described from an incumbent perspective into really how technology in general, and maybe then also take a turn on mTiba, can transform the ecosystem.
Thank you. Very happy to do that, and it's a pleasure to be here. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for making the time to listen to us. So actually, I think based on your introduction and also what Dr. Julius mentioned, there's a lot of things which resonate what we believe in at mTiba. Maybe just one clarification to make sure that anyone who's confused, can be brought back to the table. So our company is called Carepay, but our brand or our platform is called mTiba. So we usually go by the name mTiba because that's what people know and are familiar with. And mTiba has had many faces. So I think maybe it's good to briefly, explain what we're currently focusing on and how we can support the digital transformation of the industry. Because I fully believe that it's, technology is an enabling factor, as you've said yourself, Bente. And we partner with players in the industry. So we're not here to replace the industry. We're not here to, replace insurance companies. No, we're here to work together to make sure that we can achieve those benefits from digitization that we're all looking for. So that means that we also partner with many of the companies in the room. And I think Dr. Julius was also calling out for collaboration, because digital transformation is hard, and especially if you try to do it on your own. So we need to work together in this space. So as mTiba, we originally started as a savings wallet focused on driving healthcare inclusion, just like M-Pesa has resulted in financial inclusion together with the digital transformation of the banks. We want to see if we can make the same effort in healthcare inclusion to drive that penetration of quality healthcare insurance to more Kenyans. And initially we started as a savings wallet, but then we pivoted towards an insurance-based model a couple of years ago, where we work together with insurance companies who adopt our platform to digitize the claim flow, to make sure that those benefits of automation and the data insights which come from that can benefit the customer, the insurance company, but also the provider. Because I think if you look at our industry and you zoom out a bit, some of the problems which we're facing are caused by the lack of trust and transparency. Some of our members do not understand the medical benefit that they have, or have very limited insight. Some of the providers don't trust that the insurance companies will pay fast enough or will pay the claims. And some of the insurance companies don't trust that the providers are giving the services which are needed and not more than that. So I think what we try to do is to make sure that mTiba, the technology, can bring that trust in multiple ways. One aspect in my view is very key, and that's the customer engagement. So in this day and age, like with all our mobile devices that we all have here in the audience, but frankly, everyone in Kenya has a mobile phone, or 99% in some way or form.
We actually have a penetration above 100%.
Exactly, in terms of SIM cards and phones, yes. So that gives us an amazing capability, us collectively, to engage with our end customer and to understand what drives them, to understand what they like, what they don't like. So that is a key fundamental aspect of mTiba, is to make sure that we are bringing that connection much closer with the end consumer through the use of a digital mobile phone. And it also works for feature phones, just to be clear. It doesn't have to be a smartphone. So that gives a lot more insights in insurance companies also in terms of what their customers think. The fact that hospitals actually use the mTiba platform and use technology to provide granular information, and because I think data is also one of those buzzwords you mentioned. It's really important that the data is there in digestible format, because if you have granular data in terms of the medical claims, then you can do automation, then you can do pattern recognition, then you can do fraud detection and combating.
But let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You are obviously providing data, right? Or filtering data. And sorry, Jerry, I'm going to call you because I know there's a corporation happening. So you obviously, through your solutions, you're collecting data. We all know it's not just about collecting data, is it? It's about ultimately what are the product owners going to do with that data?
Yeah.
How is your feedback to the industry in the sense of, are they really efficiently using that data to the benefit of the end consumer? Or is there something where you're saying that's still something to be improved? Are we on a good journey as an ecosystem? Maybe you can touch on that, because we always talk about data, but data is always only as good as we are actually using it, right? Only for you to know this is Bente, and Bente has a child of 2 years, and maybe Bente, I know some people are going to play golf today. That's great to know about Bente, but what are you actually going to do with that? Whether this is in the purchase journey or whether this is on the claim side. Maybe you can elaborate on that a bit.
Yeah, very happy to. And you're absolutely right. So I think, but I wouldn't be in the right position to comment that we are failing as an industry and not doing it. I think we need to collaborate and make sure that we can actually, translate those insights into actions, because I think that's what will really, And
is the ecosystem ready?
Well, I think
it's not about being there, but are they receptive?
Yes, I think in general everyone wants to do it, which is great. And now we can work together in terms of hand-holding ourselves in terms of achieving this. So as mTiba, we're also providing tech-enabled administration services for insurance companies, which means that we can bring some of the expertise or the sort of the experience that we have in terms of translating the insights from data into actions to our clients. So I think we must collaborate, because we are not experts in insurance, but we can maybe play our part in terms of translating insights into actions. Yeah.
100%, and I'm very happy to hear that the industry is receptive and ready.
Yes. Yeah.
Hartnell, data, your bread and butter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dr. Julius just said we have some catch up to do. We are 20 years behind. I think he said the banks are far ahead. Let me ask, when is the last time you went to a bank branch? The gentleman in blue. When is the last time you went to a branch to your bank? I'm not going to ask you who you're banking with.
And don't say today morning.
You have not been to a bank, like a branch, within 3 months. So I think this is really the point I'm trying to make. Insurance is not there yet, is it? When we are interacting with our underwriters, we're still filling in happily papers. We need to do a physical signature. So I think this is a very practical thing to show there is indeed some catch up to do. There is some years behind, but you're also hearing from the audience, Hartnell, the underwriters are coming. The underwriters are coming after you. And I think one thing that the financial sector on the banking side has excelled in is data infrastructure and customer experience. I also have not been to my branch for a couple of months. So, Hartnell, you're in data. Maybe you're taking us a little bit on the journey why you think data is so important, especially in the financial services ecosystem, and how potentially you could translate some of your learnings to the insurance sector.
No, thank you, Bente. And I'm actually privileged because this is the first time I've actually been called to an insurance-specific conference.
They're evolving. The industry is evolving.
Which is a plus. And again, I know, Daktari, you said you're 20 years behind, but I have to commend Jubilee. You're the only insurance with actually a chief data officer. So it's actually very commendable because that's the first. And speaking of firsts, I think it's now more than 14 years, and there is no other chief data officer in the banking space in East and Central Africa. So it's still very lonely. So it shows that I know the banks have head of data, business intelligence experts, but just being able to elevate the role to a level whereby there's clear impact, still there's work to be done. So just to double click on my journey, as you said, and how we can actually benefit. I've been in the industry 14 years now, started off in consulting, went into development, I've done the coding myself. But I fell in love with the commercial banking space. And to date, I've actually created 3 strategies for top-tier banks. I think I've seen some people who we met when in Cooperative Bank, left their team of around 33 very good data experts. I'm happy some of them are actually now leading data projects in different parts of the banking space. Currently, I work with a team of around 40 data experts. We look at 4 data specialties. The first one is business intelligence and analytics. The second one is data management and governance. Third one is data science and artificial intelligence. And fourth is model analytics. And
can you speak English to us? You know, these were again a lot of buzzwords here, yeah? People are laughing.
No, I'm seeing people nodding. I'm wondering, do you know about that anyway?
Then it's just me.
Yeah, so it's basically just showing that the maturity and diversity of data has actually spread into different areas. In simple speak, our business intelligence and analytics space looks at simple things as reporting. The way you are actually able to know that I'm actually performing better, I'm able to know in a real-time basis what I'm selling, how much premiums I'm collecting. I know if you're actually someone in insurance, those are some of the numbers you want to see. But you have to have a guy called Mike sitting down with a lot of spreadsheets and Excel, and takes a week or so to give you those reports. So BI simplifies that. Second part is data management and privacy as well as governance. Excuse me. And over time, I think we have seen what is happening in the West and East. whereby data is being used for the wrong purposes. So just ensuring that you have the right guardrails on how you use data is very important. So people may have some data privacy policy now, a data privacy officer role in your organization because of the Data Privacy Act, but there's more to that. You have to know exactly what kind of data do you have in your databases. Is it having the right quality? Are you checking that it's actually having the right details of the customer? So that's data management and governance. AI is what you see on ChatGPT, and I don't know how many people have used ChatGPT before. That's a very big number. It just shows that when we are unlocking our phones with our faces and our fingers, when we are actually asking a question to ChatGPT, that's artificial intelligence, and we are actually using it in the banking space right now for multiple use cases. And again, under the field of AI and data science is what Daktari mentioned as predictive analytics, seeing the future. Now, someone who also has a few interests in vehicles, I know that if you have a PSV or a vehicle, you'll be told that the interest rates have been going up, yeah? Some guys are saying, no, we don't touch PSV, we don't touch, motor is doing very bad. But 2 years back, if we actually analyzed our data very well, we could have come up with triggers to see exactly in the future that this is going to be a loss-making business or a strenuous business, and we could actually build the controls earlier then. Now, that is actually the power of predictive analytics. And the fourth one is models, because in models, you actually are trying to understand what is the environment telling you about your business. How is the oil price, the currency, and exchange rate affecting your local business? So again, we have specialties. So I can share 2 use cases, and these actually are going to be very practical to you. One of the key ways you can use data to transform your business is understanding your customer, as simple as that. And we call that hyper-personalization. Being able to know, this is the kind of customer I actually get business from. These are the type of products the customer actually consumes. This is how frequent you are getting claims or inquiries. And you see, for us in the banking space, because you go to your mobile app every day, we're able to collect more data points. So a good example for me is that we actually stopped, and some of you, I don't know if you usually drive on Wayaki Way, there was a billboard that we had booked for a couple of years. And we actually used to put card adverts and billboards there. Swipe your card and get a discount. Now guess what? From 2021, it has not been there. You'll never see a card billboard. Why? Because we shifted everything to data. So right now, the offers that you see on your card when you go to swipe, they're not going to everyone. They may only be going to 20 of you. And that's personalization, because we are understanding how you're spending and swiping your card and giving you an offer for you, not for the whole base. We are also coming up with ways of increasing your limit. If you're someone who swipes your card frequently and pays on time, and we're able to understand how you do this, then guess what? Some of you have gotten a message telling you that we are increasing the limit of your card. And you're wondering, how are these people knowing that I need this limit increase? It's because of exactly that. Second thing is sales. I think in insurance is where you get, even the agency, workforce, and ecosystem is very powerful. And that is because we actually have a very clear touch with the customer. But in the banking space, actually 20% of all the sales right now happening for Absa Bank are done using data. And how we usually do it is as simple as that. We have metrics that we call look-alike analysis. We are able to understand our customer and the type of products they take, and we check on different platforms, and we identify someone who's similar like you, so that when we offer you a product, we are sure with a probability of 75, that's my cap, 75 and above, that you will take the product. So we actually have our workforce. Our sales agents don't come to you with a list of 30 products and say, Absa Bank has all these products, choose one. We actually come to you with 3. The first one, we have a surety of 90% and above that you will take it. And what we do is that we do our number crunching in the back. We predict with a level of accuracy that you will pick this product. And once you're called, our turnaround time is supposed to be 24 hours. So you can see what you're doing is actually using data in a very different way, and we are changing the way we are delivering sales. Now, what happens to insurance? It's coming. It usually starts with simple companies coming with digital products that are sitting on mobile apps or digital channels. And the first thing is that nobody trusts them. Someone is saying, how can I buy general and motor insurance without anyone getting a human touch? And because of comfort, you come and say, no, this thing will never work.
But wasn't it the same a couple of years ago in banking? You know,
Exactly.
how do I trust that the
Exactly.
money I'm sending through a phone is reaching?
It's actually very true, because I have to be very honest, we as banks also downplayed M-Pesa and digital banking. We felt that, you know what, because we only need the high net worth customers, we'll kick you out if your balance is less than 10,000 and say that it's actually something very prestigious to have being a banker. But over time, we have discovered that digital is actually eating the pie, and it's not really eating as lunch, breakfast, and dinner. It's eating it continuously. As we speak right now, imagine having a baby who eats from morning to evening. They actually eat the pie to the crumbs. And it's an opportunity for all of you, but it's a very big risk that should make you wake up early in the morning, because whatever happened in the banking space is very much happening in the insurance space. I am seeing it. I know that maybe I'll have a very big budget when I come and ask for a job in one of your companies, but I know one day I'll have to come for that interview, because it's actually going to happen very fast. It starts with people not trusting, but once the customer trusts this thing called digital, all the brokerage business is at risk, all access channels is at risk, all geographical boundaries disappear, because someone can be sitting in any part of the world and purchase products. Thank you.
Wow. I think now if we haven't been awake, we are now awake. And I'm sure when you are coming for an interview, the underwriters are going to welcome you with open arms, isn't it? Really, the first set was about setting the scene. What are the incumbents doing, the insurtechs, the banks, how we can translate that. And I think it really much comes down, and we have said that at many panels before, when you are in the industry, focus for the beginning on two things. Number one, optimize distribution, increase the experience for the end user, and then work with your data. I can tell you, and I think I have a pretty good overview about the ecosystem, no underwriter is until now really working to the core on the power of data. So who's gonna crunch that out first? And I'm sorry for my tech lingo here, is I think really gonna, eat the cherry on the pies rather than the base, Now, I also want to and touch a little bit about the challenges, right? I mean, digital transformation, like I said at the beginning, we are the hip guys, everything is rosy, but it comes with challenges, isn't it, Dr. Julius? And especially in a big corporate like Jubilee, which is a legacy business, I'm sure it wasn't as easy to convince your board to spend that amount of money, right? They want returns, but in hindsight, not in hindsight, but also get your team excited, because always when you come with tech, everybody gets scared. How are you dealing with that? Maybe in 5 sentences. Culture change.
The first one, of course, as you said, is organizational culture. Organizational culture, or even you can even go to say industry culture. So that's a hindrance. What are culture? People have entrenched habits, entrenched behaviors, entrenched values. And once to break that takes a while. For us, it took us almost 3 years to begin to break those walls. And once we are now, all those walls are now broken and the cost is clear. The second one is talent pool. You know, one of the things that really destabilized us last year is the big bang of the big boys arriving in Nairobi. When Microsoft landed with their ADC, you know, AWS also have their own ADC, Google, they just swept all the talented people that were working on our RPS. And they were all gone and they got double salaries. So we were like, okay, let's start. So what we have now done is create a pipeline of, we get fresh graduates, train them, and then we know that in 6 months, 1 year, they will disappear. It's okay. So we create a pipeline. What do we do? Okay, and then we are also collaborating with them. Instead of fighting them, we told them, okay, why can't we outsource some things to you and you work on some projects with us? We are going to collaborate on our digital factory with them, and so there'll be a lot of work. Then, of course, as we didn't have a budget issue, we were very clear, although, I mean, these things are built on the individual companies, and as you said, the CEOs of those individual companies are saying value for money. I know Jerry is sitting there and looking at me and saying, yeah, make sure it is value for money, okay? And then, of course, the final one is a threat which has come recently, which is data security. So it altered some of our costs, because then we have to build a lot of things and make sure that our systems are secure. I mean, cyber criminals are on the prowl globally now, and it has increased our cost of fortifying our systems. So there's a lot of work, but don't fear. The benefits by far outweigh the hindrances, and so therefore I would encourage everybody, be on the bandwagon. The future is digital, and the future needs to be digitized because the customer is already digital. Thank you.
Thank you. And maybe just to add up on that a little bit, on the challenges. I mean, InsurTech technology in the ecosystem is something we are talking about also here in East Africa now for the last at least 5 years very intensively. And sometimes I feel we are talking a lot, Hartnell, right? And we are still not doing the big catch-up. We haven't really started moving the train, isn't it, as an insurance ecosystem. Now you have been down that journey with a bank. And I'm sure there was also, you know, we did a lot of work under the iceberg, right, until we came out of the water. When do you think the insurance sector will really feel the benefits of digital transformation? Because we're hearing a lot is being done in the different entities. And when does the train really start moving? Or has it already started moving and we just don't feel the ultimate benefits yet? Or what do we have to do?
So there's this interesting graph called the hype cycle. And I'm sure the techies know about it. And people say in any specific industry, any new technology starts off with hype. And that's where we are comfortable. The incumbents, the people who are actually still running their businesses in the traditional model are very happy. So what usually happens with the hype cycle is that the hype starts dwindling down after some time. And what causes that shift is because now the power moves from us as the service providers and the corporates to the customer. And what the customer is looking for is very, very simple. It's looking for easier, faster, better. You may call it digital, you may call it whatever type of new, revamped, rebranded, but the customer is looking for easier, faster, better. Very simple things. And what happens in that case is that gone are the days whereby, as insurance, we want to say, how do you know that this customer requires this feature? What does the customer really want? I think the cheese has moved. It's not about what the customer wants and knows, because technology is moving very quickly, is what you can actually bait your customer to. So the customer is no longer participating in focus groups and telling you what they want, because that's the old way of doing things. They're actually waiting to see that in all these companies I'm interfacing with, who is easier, faster, better, and exactly that's how they choose. So the spot whereby you'll start seeing this actually becoming top priority and people moving quickly is when the customer starts moving. And the customer starts choosing.
And when they start that, the train is...
Exactly. Because what happened, exactly.
Left the station.
Very true. And once it leaves, there are companies that are going to, unfortunately, die. You've heard about Nokia?
Yeah.
There are companies that are actually going to quickly change because they are agile.
That is an interesting one. Who had a Nokia phone at some stage? You should just turn around and see how many people had a Nokia phone. They didn't join the train.
The Android train.
To speak in pictures. And now where's Nokia? Not sure, is it completely gone? But at least not on the top agenda of things anymore, yeah? So you don't want to become a Nokia. That's what we are saying in English.
Yeah. And you have to accept that some insurance companies will close down. We have to be honest with ourselves. That when the train moves, if you're not having the will to change quickly, you'll have to go into mergers and acquisitions. But others will actually start preparing, having those small labs. And when the customer is shifting and going, you can woo them back and say, we also have it. We also are able to give you that same experience, easier, faster, and better. And that's why digital and agile and change management, all of them sit in one bucket. But again, not to really shape doom and gloom. We're already in a conference that we're speaking about this. So it's up to yourself to just see how are we actually taking conversations to actions. Thanks.
Peter, we understand the scene, we understand the challenges where we have to go now moving forward, right? What would you give as the 3 pillars to somebody to think about embarking on digital transformation and moving forward?
That's a good question. Let me start with the first one, and then I can build on as we go. I think often, you might be surprised to hear this from someone in tech like myself, but it's all about starting small, simple, easy, and get quick confirmation that you're on the right path. I think one of the challenges that I see with many players in the industry, including ourselves, so we made many mistakes in our journey, where we thought that we had the answer and that we thought that we had a perfect solution. We spent way too much time and money building a solution, and then we went into the market, and the market punched us, like we were down in one day. I think we have many examples where, one example is that we co-designed a small health cover with one of our partners, AR Insurance, for Matatu trips. So basically when you embark the bus, then you're covered for the duration of the trip. So we see that works very well because customers feel the risk that they're exposed to and basically want to be covered for that duration of the trip. And we had thought about it, and we thought that we were so agile, like we thought we're not going to develop a very complicated registration journey. We're just, working with a Google form to capture people's KYC information. And we thought that we were already very good in that. And then we went onto the stage. After one day, we dumped the Google form in the dustbin, and we came back with pen and paper because our digital forms didn't go fast enough for the dynamics of the Matatu stage. So we went back to pen and paper and then started to capture 4 fields of information. After 2 weeks, we phased out two of the KYC fields because we didn't need them and people were not giving them anyway. I'm just highlighting this illustration. It learned us so much by talking to the customer and experiencing it on ground, and that helped us to really drastically shorten timelines in terms of building something which is tech-enabled and addresses a challenge. So my advice in terms of starting with a way forward, yeah.
So start small, think big.
Start small, think big, have a clear end goal in mind, but don't be in our boardrooms and, I think, think about what. Don't think that we know what the customer wants, and customer can be the end customer, but it can also be internal in our own teams in terms of digitization. When I hear, my fellow panelists about robotics and automation, it's a lot about people skills. It's a lot about understanding what is really the pain point and then trying to address that quickly. Then you have small wins which you can celebrate, and that can give you the stamina to really get to the long-term goal. So for me, it's about that. Yeah.
Wow. Excellent insights from very different industry players and perspectives. So now I think we're having probably around 10 minutes left for some questions from everybody here in the room or also online. So
yeah, I'll just pick it up. Thank you for that. I will get you started with the online question coming from the former director, Smasharia. She writes as follows to Dr. Julius. Dr. Julius, I believe you're on screen with us. I hope, yes, Dr. Julius, this is your question. Excellent presentation. I like your passion for collaboration, and I noted it when we had an IIK breakfast. in collaboration with KPMG early this year, and you attended. Kindly clarify further how the insurance industry can collaborate in technology, because this is critical and timely. I hope you got that question. You can proceed.
Okay, there are many things that the insurance industry can collaborate with. I mean, one, for example, is there anything that is hindering us from collaborating on claims adjudication? We don't compete in claims management. We can build a very robust system and a gateway. We don't have to do it ourselves. People like mTek can do it for us. And all our claims go through that gateway, and we tighten things. And if we can do 99.99 accurate claims adjudication, for me, I will say hallelujah. The banks exchange checks every day through the clearing house. Do they say, I don't want to clear a check because I want to sabotage Bank A or Bank X? They don't think that way. They think, how do we efficiently serve the customer, because the customer has brought the check of your bank to me. So look, how can we exchange it more efficiently? The second area I would like us to collaborate with is criminals. I mean, criminals scam us and we keep silent in our corner. Why don't we create a blacklist, a joint blacklist? And every time we want to check something, we go through, just like AML. And we collaborate on that one. We can collaborate on employees, blacklisting employees who are scamming us. We can collaborate on many things. So our competitiveness is on our value proposition to the customer. But anything back office, we can always collaborate. So there are many things that we can do to cut costs, to be more efficient, and then anything which is customer facing is collaborate. The principle these days, I know most of you went to school and you are students of Michael Porter, competitiveness. We are now in a post-Porter world. In a post-Porter world, the key word is collaboration. And it was espoused by Robert Kaplan. Robert Kaplan in 1993 coined a word called competition, where you collaborate and compete at the same time. The time has now come for collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe that is well answered. We are going to have an opportunity for just 2 questions. The rest we are able to project them because of a limitation of time. So I have seen 2 hands. With your permission, Madam Moderator, we can take this, and there was a hand there. Yes, those 2. Please welcome.
Thank you. My name is Ruth. My question goes to Hartnell and Dr. Julius. In the insurance sector, especially the retail customer is heavily, the sale of the retail customer and reaching out to them is heavily dependent on the intermediary. In the world of data and trying to just understand the customer and trying to sell to them, I'm a bit curious to understand where will the intermediary go to, because a lot of them are here and they're also concerned about what's their role in this. Will their, if we go B2C, will their role die completely? What will the role go to if the companies reach out directly to the customer? And I'm looking at what's the role of the agents, especially for life insurance. We're heavily dependent on the agent to sell our product. They do not have the muscle, they don't have the capacity to invest in data. If the data is owned by the insurance company, what happens next? Do we eliminate them completely? And then finally, I'm also looking at maybe even the processing and other roles that are played by the other parts of the ecosystem, the loss adjusters. What will happen to them if we as insurance invest heavily on data and go directly to the customer? Do we eliminate all the intermediaries and their roles?
Thank you. We'll take the other question and then we answer both.
Thank you. So I'm Monica Thirima, representing IRA. And my question is similar to what has already been asked, so I want to build on that. And my question goes to Dr. Kipngetich, Julius. Now that you have told us about the digitization, what has been your experience with the intermediaries? And what has their role been for Jubilee Group of Companies? And what is their future? And as my colleague has said, it's like the intermediaries, actually, if they don't shift or re-strategize, they can see themselves losing in their field. But how has Jubilee addressed this? Because we know that the industry is broker-driven, agency-driven, but how has this affected Jubilee given that you have adapted the new system of digitization? Thank you.
Thank you very much. You can proceed.
Yeah, these are very good questions. And I like this discussion because this is the opportunity where we can actually be able to come up with different hypotheses of how the future will look like. Now, in the banking space, we have a similar setup. We have a team that is called the head office team. And the work is that the ones who open accounts for customers, are the ones who process loans for customers, they're the ones who take the risk. They have different credit teams, they have different risk analysts, and most of the back office heavy lifting is done. And you can call it our form of underwriting. Then we have a next role, which is a very senior role, and it's called distribution. And we have someone who's called a distribution director. So it can be a network distribution director. And the purpose of this person is to ensure that all sales agents, all branches, all channels for our banking products are sitting under that person. Now, the only difference that you have in the insurance sector is that these are actually two different companies. And it's not a mistake. It's by design. For me, I never come and say it's a copy-paste. You guys should merge and become one bank. It can never happen. But I like what Dr. said. And he said that you already have the opportunity to collaborate right now. Now, we have three hypotheses that may happen as we start tackling digital. First hypothesis is that in the next 3 to 5 years, you will see that the distribution companies, who are your brokers and agents, are actually working very closely with the underwriters. And I know they are actually serving multiple, it's fine. But you'll see that they are actually starting to have preference for some, and a stronger bond is going to be created whereby they can now share ideas because they are the interface with the customer. They know the customers better than the underwriter. But the underwriter requires to develop new pricing and products and requires that data and experience on touch points from the intermediaries. So you will see the first hypothesis being very solid collaboration, and loyalty will start building into place. Second thing, and not to worry, you will see the role of intermediaries dwindle for some underwriters. And I can tell you why. It's because they're actually going to be able to create a digital platform that you'll just go on board and you'll still be able to get some services. So I'm not saying there's elimination, but you'll see load balancing, whereby for some particular types of businesses, direct customer access is possible. And technology is already there on that. But for others, because of the human touch, talking about life, explaining different types of things, that will still be there. Now, the third option is that you'll see, that is the third hypothesis, you'll see different types of mergers happening in the future. And what may be a possibility, I'm not painting any future. Someone may say, please see this recording 5 years, and this guy, he came from the future, he predicted these things. But basically what you're going to see is that you're actually going to see some absorption, whereby some brokerages will have, they can still remain separate, but you'll see clear investments, whereby underwriters now, and obviously it has to be in line with IRA's regulation, but we'll have to have some wiggling room, whereby you can actually have some form of ownership and cross-pollination. Now, there may be multiple features, but the underlying thing is that if you're going to go digital, there will be benefits for everyone. The intermediaries will be able to access more. There'll be lesser work on manual distribution and processing, and the writers will actually be able to understand the business better, price better, manage risks better. You just have to work together. Thanks.
I want to maybe add one thing about that from an international feedback on InsurTech, what we have seen internationally, how InsurTechs or technologies interacting with intermediaries. And there's, again, 3 scenarios which are talking to what you're saying, and one is, and that was Geico, you know, you make the human obsolete. But there was so much money being thrown at Geico, and they're still not profitable to a certain extent. And it's very unlikely that this is going to happen in an ecosystem like East Africa. So that's number 1. Number 2 is really make a couple of things in the value chain more efficient. That is usually a scenario which works quite well. And what we have seen in Africa as a totality, taking the forefront, is really help ecosystems player to be more efficient and customer-centric. Now, what that is also requesting is the receptiveness of the other market player, meaning of the agents and brokers to interact with technology. When you're remembering, you see, when you didn't want to onboard on Uber, you have a very tough time today when you're not with a taxi hailing company, when you're kind of blocking technology, right? So it a little bit requests feedback from all sides.
Yeah, maybe I can chip in from an sort of an outsider point of view, because I think what we should not forget is that penetration of insurance is very, very low. So we're talking a lot about eating a cake, but you know, the cake can actually become 10 times bigger. So, and actually digitization will enable us to make that cake 10 times bigger. So I'm actually not worried. These are very valid questions, but I don't think we should be worried. And I sometimes have to think about, like, I remember like 20 years ago, there was a discussion about, like, will pilots be obsolete? You know, because there's, you know, computers flying planes. Will pilots be obsolete? They will not, you know, like, and actually there's a shortage of pilots.
When Excel came, we asked ourselves, are accountants becoming obsolete?
Exactly, exactly. So, you know, like, there's more shortage and demand for pilots than ever, because like low-cost flying has driven the sort of uptake of flying more than ever, and people do want a human to fly a plane. You know, it's assisted with digital technology. Same with insurance covers, you know, like, insurance covers are not something very intuitive. You will benefit from having a human explaining what it is and why you should buy it. And if we can make insurance more efficient and affordable, we can actually tap into that untapped market, and there will still be enough to do for all of us. I'm 100% convinced. So.
Okay, can I add something? There were some questions directed to me. I know this issue of job losses and what happens when technology sets in. Everybody gets worried. It's a natural human reaction. But let me just give you some scenarios to just help you to also predict for yourself what is going to happen in the insurance industry. Look at, for example, the evolution of the telcos in Kenya. By 98, we had one giant called KPTC. Then technology changed and legislation changed. So it was broken into Safaricom, Telkom Kenya, Postal, and the rest. Look at the evolution of Safaricom post 98. Okay, it started off slowly, and then by the year 2000, Vodafone came in. Now, last week, Safaricom, fast forward to this year, last week Safaricom said they influenced 1 million jobs directly and indirectly in its ecosystem. Now, if you had asked somebody 20 years ago, will mobile phones kill the ecosystem for fixed lines? Of course it was, but it was a slow motion, and then people transitioned to new arrangements, new work habits, new approaches, and look at the new emerging jobs that then that ecosystem created. So the same thing will happen in our insurance industry. Our current intermediaries will evolve. If you just look at that, they will just evolve from being an agent selling in a traditional way. For us as Jubilee, we are introducing the agents, the intermediary portal. So we are actually enabling the person to remove paper, that's digitization, Okay? And then over time, once the customers get used to, we hope that intermediary will find another niche in the industry to transition to. So everybody is transitioning. The person who doesn't transition is the one that therefore will be eliminated by technology and new methodologies. The other example is secretaries. When the PC came in '83, I mean, the typewriter was in vogue. I mean, who worries that there are no secretaries? They evolved into personal assistants. People don't then choose secretarial as a job, and they transition. So what we are saying is we must all be prepared to transition. As companies are transitioning to new methodologies because of new technology, customers are also shifting. Intermediaries must also shift. As disintermediation in the traditional way, the way we know it today, is happening, okay, some intermediation in a different way is also evolving. And we are also preparing our current agents and brokers by giving them a portal, okay? Look at airlines. When Kenya was changed its policy overnight, that they are going to pay a commission, I think from 9% to 2%. There were riots by the travel agents. Now, people thought that the travel agent will disappear. The travel agent has not disappeared. They evolved and they changed the way they do business, and they became more customer-centric. Kenya Airways used to pay the agent's fee. It was shifted to the customer, and they became more efficient, value creation, and they are still here. They changed the way they were doing business. So my message to our partners, our intermediaries, is get ready. We will work with you in the transition. You will not lose your business. What will happen is that the way you do your business will change. And as it changes, we will work with you that journey, and we enable you to transition. And that transition is inevitable, and we must walk that journey together. Thank you.
What a great parting shot. Thank you, everybody. This was the technology paper. Thank you, gentlemen, for supporting me. And the parting shot, I think, is, start small, think big. Thank you.
A big round of applause for this wonderful team. Very well done, very well done. We sincerely appreciate you, and that was excellent, excellent moderation. I look forward to be like you someday. Very welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wonderful panel. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Luting. Thank you so much. We are happy that you are with us. And we will have a gift for you mailed to your office by air. We are that serious.
Give it to my colleague inside there, Jerry.
We feel like actually flying it to you. So don't limit us on the costing. Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for this wonderful team. I feel after this I can go and apply for a job as an IT manager in my company. I'm ready for it now.